back. I am Unapologetically Eric. You can follow me on Facebook at Unapologetically Eric or on X at Eric Not Sorry. So today, this is more of a follow-up of my Kamala Harris Sucks episode, because she does. Well, now she's picked a VP that sucks just as hard. And he's a fucking Marxist. That's right. Or a commie. Or whatever. Socialist. I mean, each one is a side to the trifecta of hell, and in the center of that triangle is nothing but misery, chaos, and death. Because commies suck. Fuck Marxism. Fuck them all. Anywho's. So, before I get into this, Democrats, I want to speak to you. Especially the older ones. Like the 50, 55 years old and higher. Two things. The Democrat Party, especially for you older folks, that you fell in love with a long time ago, is dead. Back in the day, the Democrat Party was anti-war, pro-America. Let's see. They would like good, normal, legal immigration, low taxes. They cared about the family. They cared about jobs, workers, mainly unions. And I have my own opinion on unions, but they were pro-worker. That's how it was back in the day. Not anymore. If you are an older person that still considers yourself a Democrat, I've got sad news for you. The party does not stand for those values anymore. The Democrat Party are war hawks now. They are pro-war. Why do you think we keep funding this whole Ukraine thing? Well, it's because Russia and Putin. Okay. We have how many homeless on the streets? And we don't have money for them. We don't have money to help anybody like that. You know, you look at the fentanyl crisis and all these people in the streets, like literally looking like fucking zombies. We don't have money to help any of them, which 30 or 40 years ago, the Democrat Party would be all over to help. We don't have money for them anymore. We're sending it to war. And more war. And more war. Israel, Gaza, we're funding both sides. The party is not what you used to know and love. Now, I'm not saying you should jump ship and become a Republican. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just bringing you some information you probably aren't aware of. That is why there are a lot of former Democrats that basically they're just unaffiliated now, because they're what they are called typically is disaffected liberals. And they're politically homeless. They're like, I can't agree with the Democrats, but those Republicans, yeah, ew, no, I can't agree with them either. Look at, perfect example is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was a Democrat for a long time. She ran for president in, 2019. She's left the party. She's not the only Democrat that has done it. She is friends with Joe Rogan and has been on his podcast several times. And after she left the party, she was like, they don't represent anything that I support. She is a veteran. She is also against war, especially stupid, frivolous bullshit wars, right? The forever wars. Hello, a la Afghanistan, Vietnam. She was against that. She's like, the party doesn't represent any of that anymore. And they've gone off the deep end ideologically. Now, also, not only for the older Democrats, but the younger ones. All I have heard for the last, 2 years, ever since Trump announced he was running again, is he's a threat to democracy. To which I always say, we are not a democracy, we are a constitutional republic, and there is a big difference. But Joe Biden is president, he is the incumbent, he was running, and there was primaries, just like Trump. He won the primaries, but there was other people, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, And all of them did not get enough votes, and Trump won the primaries. Now he is the Republican nominee. Joe Biden also had, well, actually, no, I lied. Let me take that back. He did not have anyone running against him because he is the incumbent. But they still did, primaries and all that stuff. And yeah, of course, Joe Biden won. Duh. So he was going to be the nominee. Well, he bows out, as we are all aware of. Kamala Harris, as VP, steps in, which makes sense, right? That's kind of typical. And then that was it. Well, if I was a Democrat, if I was one of you, I would be kind of pissed off because, as I stated in my Kamala Harris Sucks episode, she dropped out of the running for president in 2019 because I don't think she even made it to Iowa, let alone California, her home state, because she had no votes. She was not being supported because everybody was like, no, she fucking sucks. These other choices are better. And so they just inserted her. None of the Democrat voters in the United States had a say on this. She was installed. And you say Trump is a threat to democracy. This is some Chinese bullshit where the party decides who the nominee will be. So again, if I was a Democrat, I would be pissed because maybe you would want, I don't know, Governor Newsom from California. I don't have anything nice to say about him, but let's just say you wanted him. He had no chance. He had no chance. Or anybody. Pick anybody. Any Democrat governor or mayor or town council. Fuck, I don't know. But nobody had a chance to run for the nomination on the Democrat side. All of you were just told she is the appointee. We're backing her now. Get in line. I would be pissed off at the Democrat Party. I would be pissed off at the leaders of the party telling me that. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't like her. I want that guy instead, or I want that gal instead. That lady over there, she makes sense to me. Why did they not get a shot? No, they just basically said, fuck you, and get in line. Eat shit. I'm serious, folks. That would piss me off. It would piss me off on the Republican side. If the same thing happened, whether I like Trump or not, if I was just told, he's our guy, that's who we picked, vote for him, I would be like, fuck you. Again, whether I liked him or not, I would be pissed off. Just, this is who we chose. No matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you say. It just doesn't matter. So, tough shit. Yeah. I would be pissed. You had no say at all in this. That's kind of bullshit, to be honest. So, as many people agree, the United States, we've got issues. We do. And one of the big issues on, you can search on the internet for like the top 10 political things that everybody from the right, from the left, from the center have chosen as, these are the things that are our top priorities or things that concern us. And in that list, near the top is, the economy. You're being gaslit, oh, the economy's doing great. Fuck it is. Have you been to the grocery store lately? Everybody's having a hard time putting food on the table, and they're telling you, oh, the economy is great. I mean, just the other day, some reporter asked Biden, like, what do you want to be remembered for? He's like, I cured the economy. From what? Success? The economy sucks shit. But also on that list is illegal immigration. Crime. Those are some of the topics near the top of that list. And the person, backtrack here, as I've covered in the last episode, Kamala Harris was the quote-unquote border czar for 3 years or 2 years, whatever it was. And obviously, look around. Watch any kind of news. Well, not the mainstream. They suck. But illegal immigration is off the charts. And oftentimes crime follows. And granted, crime is not just I'm not blaming it all on illegals, although 100% of illegal immigrants are criminals. They broke federal law entering our country. But crime is, in general, off the charts, mainly in Democrat-ran cities. Just putting it out there, just saying. But she has said nor done anything to help combat this. The person that she has picked is Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota. He is for open borders. He asked the question, there is audio and video of this, talking about the wall that Donald Trump pushed for, the big beautiful wall. And he said, well, how tall is this wall going to be? 25 feet? Then I'm going to invest in 30-foot ladders. Right there, he's telling you he doesn't give a shit about American sovereignty. He wants to just open border and let anybody come in. That destroys a country. Look what's going on right now all across Europe, France especially, and even more recently the UK. It's bad. That shit's bad. Immigration is good. It is good, especially when you, vet people, make sure that they're not carrying some crazy disease. They have skills, especially skills your country needs. That is a good thing. My family are immigrants. They came here with skills. They were vetted. I've talked about this before, so I kind of know a little something. And yes, I know it's daunting and it takes time, especially nowadays. But illegal immigration is horrible, and it's rampant. And a lot of people I have talked to, both on all sides of the political spectrum, are like, it's out of hand. It's out of fucking control. Well, Harris has done nothing, says nothing, doesn't talk about solving it. She just keeps pointing, orange man, bad. It's like, hey, well, okay, that's great, whatever. And your solution is nothing but crickets. And now Walz is open borders. That's fantastic, isn't it? So more of the same. Oh, on that vein, let me pull up my notes here. In Minnesota, he has given illegals driver's licenses. They can't get auto insurance. So what happens when you get into a car wreck with one of these individuals? Well, you're fucked. Hope your policy's up to date. Also has given them free health care and free college. Does that sound like somebody you want in the White House? Do you honestly think this person gives a flying fuck about America and Americans and legal residents that have come here from foreign countries for a different and better life? No, this motherfucker don't care. He's a piece of shit. Also, Harris and this piece of shit has wanned about January 6th. It's the most horrible thing that's happened since Pearl Harbor. Yes, that's an actual quote. I think it was either Harris said that or AOC, another fucking brilliant box of rocks. And also said that January 6th was as bad as Pearl Harbor and 9/11. Yeah, that's a real quote. These people are fucking insane. And as I have covered before, I don't want to hear one more fucking word about January 6th because, now granted, it was not a great day. It was not. There were people that did do some shenanigans, and I have even said, yes, they should also go to jail or at least be tried, pay a fine. But a lot of people were invited in by Capitol Police. So there was an actual individual who went to court, had the video of it, and the judge threw the case out. You were invited in. But yes, the people that did bad things that day, they should be tried in a court of law and pay their penalties. Hey, all is fair, right? But just recently, I think, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, pro-Palestinian protesters they barged into the Capitol. They even took down the American flag, hoisted their own flag and burned our flag. Not a word. Oh, they also spray painted pro-Hamas stuff. Hamas is a terrorist organization behind you. And they spray painted in our capital all over. Destruction of property. They don't give a flying fuck about America. They don't care about you. But where are the protests? Where are the people going to jail? Where are the hundreds of people being rounded up and having their Facebook and their X accounts and Instagram accounts being investigated? Is that happening? No, it's not. So don't fucking cry to me about J6 anymore. I don't want to hear a fucking word about it. Until something is done about those motherfuckers, shut up. Just shut up, walk away. I don't want to hear it. So if you want more of this, please vote for Harris Walz. Please, if you want more of that. Also, now, I will give some credit to Tim Walz. He was in the military. I tip my cap. Anybody that serves, I have to give you credit. Y'all signed up. He signed up. He put his name on the bottom line. I give him credit for that. He is a veteran. Just a veteran. I'm going to get into why I said that way in a minute. So I believe he was in for 25 years. And then word came down the pipeline that him and his unit were going to be deployed to Iraq. Yeah, 2 months before that happened, he promptly retired. Well, he was planning on doing that. Yeah, but he also started running for public office. So he's kind of taking some flack because you knew you were getting deployed and you bowed out. Kind of shady right there. But he keeps talking about, he's made mention of being a combat veteran, which he is not. Wikipedia changed it. I have seen people I follow on X post pictures of before and after where it said that he served in Iraq. No, he never stepped foot in Iraq. He was deployed to Italy, which, as far as I know, there's no war there. Hasn't been since, I don't know, the 40s. So he never saw combat. And he talks about how he's a pro-gunner. He's a hunter, okay? But nobody needs weapons of war. Speaking specifically about AR-15s and other semi-automatic rifles. But then he says, no, I'm going to butcher the quote. This is not an exact quote. I'm paraphrasing, but you can look it up. There's a video of it. You can watch it for yourself, where he says something along the lines of, nobody needs weapons of war. Nobody needs to have the weapons that I carried into war. You never saw combat. Now, as I have said, I support and salute everybody that has signed up for military service. I don't care if it's Coast Guard, Marines, Air Force. I don't give a shit. Thank you for your service. And the same thing with Tim Walz. I salute him. Thank you for your service as well. However, those that have seen combat veterans, like a few of my friends. I have a friend that served in Iraq. I believe he was over there and served 9 years in the military. He saw shit. He was on the two-way firing range. Another friend of mine, he was in Vietnam. Thankfully, he was one that made it back in one piece, at least physically. He was on a two-way firing range. The combat veterans, in my heart and mind, they are a different level. Again, everybody that served, they're awesome. But you see combat, you got shit coming at you trying to kill you and you're dishing it out. That's a different level. This piece of shit, in my opinion, and some other people I've seen and follow, it's stolen valor. Like, bro, you're not a combat veteran. Shut the fuck up and sit down. You do not deserve any accolades for that. You do not deserve it. You did not do that. You were not being shot at. You were a fucking liar. Now let's talk about some fiery stuff, literally. So during the Summer of Love 2020, the BLM riots, or the George Floyd riots, as they want to call them. Now, as I've stated before, I don't have a problem with protests. Whether I agree or disagree with what you are upset about does not matter. I support your right to protest. You deserve your right to have your voice and grievance heard. Rioting, on the other hand, no. Fuck that shit. Just like the J6ers that smashed windows and assaulted Capitol Police, fuck them. They're pieces of crap. But the people that were upset about police brutality and all that, if they marched up and down the streets, I got no problem with y'all. Not at all. But as soon as a brick went through a window and cars were being lit on fire, now it's a riot. You're a piece of crap. As I stated in my previous episode, Kamala Harris set up a site, which is still active, sadly, and implored people to spend their hard-earned money for this fund to help get rioters out of jail. Now, Tim Walz in Minneapolis, which kind of had some serious fucking problems, fiery but mostly peaceful, he told the police to stand down. He told the police to abandon the PD, which later on was burnt to the ground. He told the National Guard, nope, we're good here. And then he was giving some speech talking about, like, his whiteness and how he... Shut the fuck up, you commie scum. He allowed violence and burning and looting to happen. Do you want someone that supports that in the White House? Fuck no. Well, Donald Trump... No. States are states. Now, I may be wrong. Someone please correct me. But I believe when when some shit goes down in a state, the state takes care of the state. If they need federal help, they have to ask for it. I may be wrong on this, so don't fully quote me. Double check me, because I didn't double check myself. I'm just talking on my ass here. I'm just a fucking idiot with a microphone. But I believe that's how it works. So, like, if there's a natural disaster or fucking rioting, and the state, the people in the state, the police and fucking National Guard and all that, if they can't handle it and they need backup from the feds, I believe that they need to tell the feds to come in. I do not believe the federal government can just waltz in and go, we're here to help. I don't think that works that way, because states have their own individual rights. So I know Trump had offered help to Seattle, and they told him to go punt. They said, nope, we're good here. And then, more violence and rapes and murders happened, and buildings were looted and burned, and fantastic times, right? Tim Walz allowed that to happen. Also, just recently, his wife, another socialist cow, was on a radio show doing an interview talking about that time. And again, paraphrasing, but she was like, I was in the house and I had the windows open and you could smell the tires burning. It was really surreal. And I kept the windows open for as long as I could. She sounded like she was happy about this. Not like, oh my God, I was so devastated. No. So they were happy about this. Well, because commies and Marxists, they're happy about chaos. They want to bring down the system. Do you want that mentality in the White House? I certainly fucking don't. And I've mentioned identity politics and how much I friggin' loathe identity politics. Well, recently Donald Trump had an interview, and this got buried pretty quick, thankfully, because the facts came out where he made a comment about Kamala Harris not being an African-American woman, because up until 5 minutes ago, she was an Indian woman, a woman of Indian descent. And he took a beating of, oh, Trump's racist, see, here's the fucking evidence, blah, 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 blah. Then you can go and search for videos where it said, she told a story how she has family in India. I think I covered this in the last episode, but I'm bringing it up again. And up until 10 minutes ago, she was an Indian woman, which, again, I don't give a shit. I don't care. She's a moron. I don't care what her skin color is or ethnicity. I don't care. She's a fucking idiot. But again, it's all identity politics, and the shit is garbage. Like I said in my last episode, okay, she's a woman. Are you voting for her just because she's a woman? You're a fucking idiot. I would vote for a woman. I don't have a problem with that as long as her policies align, or most of her policies, because no politician's gonna perfectly 100% align with your thoughts and views. But any woman that came close and I agreed with more than the guy, the black guy, the white guy, the Asian guy, it doesn't fucking matter to me. I don't care. I want to vote for the best person. America is basically like a big business. It should be ran like a business. Do you want a CEO at the top that's a moron, but they look like you or say things you want to hear? Or do you want somebody that's going to get in there and kick ass and take names and get shit done? That's what I want. Another interesting fact about this Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, and their legislature. Hey, Minnesotans, or I'm sorry, I think that's what y'all are called. I'm sorry, somebody can correct me on that too. Yeah, he signed into law because the legislators wrote this, and he signed it into law that because there's a thing going on X right now. They're calling him Tampon Tim. That's because he signed into law that high schools have to put tampons in the men's rooms. Or the boys' rooms. Boys' rooms. Why? I'm not a biologist, but boys don't get periods. Oh, but it's for their girlfriends. No, it's not. No, it's not. Ask a married man. A married man. Married for 15 years. Do you go to the store and buy your wife tampons or maxi pads? I would guarantee at least 85-90% would say, fuck no. She can buy that stuff. And ladies, do you send your husband out to buy you tampons and maxi pads? I'm willing to guess most of you are like, no. He wouldn't know what brand or size or what my flow is that day. No, I take care of that myself. It's a private thing. That's why you don't talk about that stuff very often, because it's a private matter. So, yeah, he signed it into law. He's also pro-transing the kids. That's right, yeah. Little Timmy, he's 7 years old. Let's cut his dick off. That's okay in the eyes of Tim Walz. Now, as I've said before, somebody that has gender dysphoria, I do not envy that person. I don't. I'm not saying I hate them, but I don't envy them to wake up every day and feel like you're someone that you're not. That's a mind fuck, and I do not envy anybody with that. Just like I don't envy anybody that is an addict. You know, if every day you're trying to not drink alcohol or not to inject heroin, I don't envy you. That sucks. That's tough. That is a hard life. But when it comes to gender dysphoria, especially in younger people, kids, we'll say 5 to 15, most people, not all, but most, two things happen. They either discover that they're gay, which, okay, fine, you're gay, great. Or they grow out of it. I believe the term is desist. And that's like 60 to 90% of people with gender dysphoria, they desist. They hit puberty. The brain changes, because for adults, your brain is not 100% until you're like, I think, 25 for both men and women. And once you hit puberty, obviously your body starts going through changes, but then you really develop into your own personality and who you are. But he supports giving gender-affirming care to children, which is puberty blockers. What? Are you insane? as I started this episode off talking to the Democrats, especially the older Democrats, this is the shit that is supported by your party now. Cutting the tits off of 12-year-olds. This is real. This happens. And giving puberty blockers to boys and girls. This is real. This is happening. And yes, the mainstream media, which is all trash, and I say this from CNN to Fox News, they're all trash, aren't going to go into this in depth. This is fucking insane. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for. You shouldn't vote for those two fucking clowns. But when it comes to politics, whether it's federal or local or state, I try to do my best to do research because obviously, like you, like any of you, whether you like me or hate me, if you're listening to me out of spite, great, thanks. I appreciate the download. But we all have things that we like and dislike. Well, I do my research into, okay, who's running for my mayor or who's running for my rep or whatever. And if I agree with them, cool, you got my vote. I don't? Sorry. Try again, loser. But when it comes to policies, I have my list of things I give a shit about, just like all of you. Now, when it comes to Trump and Harris, Harris has none. At least on her website, she has no policies. There is no base. Like, what do you support? What are you pushing for? Low taxes, higher taxes? Nobody fucking knows. You can gather it a bit from speeches, which sound very repetitive every time she does a speech, because, hey, that's what the teleprompter says. Now, she obviously, because of her dereliction of duty as border czar, wants more illegal immigration. She doesn't care about the border. As I've already stated, Tim Walz doesn't give a shit about the border either. They do point fingers, oh, Trump is bad, Orange Man bad, they're just weird. Okay, and okay, exactly. That's what you're getting. What are their policy on taxes? Nothing. The only thing you can go back to is speeches that Harris made, or interviews at least, from 2019 before she dropped out because she's a loser. Big loser. When it comes to guns, she wants to push an Australian style of gun control, and she stated that within the first 100 days, she would do this and go and push for confiscation. Good fucking luck with that. That would be civil war. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. That'd be terrible. But, so she's clearly anti-gun. But she hasn't said anything lately. She hasn't talked about it. That's not one of her policies. Go to her website. You can donate money. You can read a bio about her. Great. And what's your policy on guns? What's your policy on taxes? Nothing. We do know from past interviews she's against oil. She's against fracking. She's against the American people doing this. She's against this. So apparently, I would deduce she doesn't want gas prices to come down. She doesn't want the price of natural gas, propane, or oil to come down. She would rather spend your money, my money, our money, to buy it from foreign countries and not put Americans to work. But again, that's just from past interviews. She hasn't said shit about it. All she said is, no, they're weird. We're gonna take Orange Man down. And everybody's like, yay! But, okay, there's no fucking substance. Now, whether you like him or not, at least with Donald Trump, you know he has some policies. He is, for all intents and purposes, pro-gun. He's certainly not anti-gun. I know he did have some bad takes back on his first term. He banned bump stocks, but the Supreme Court overturned that, so. But overall, he is definitely way more pro-gun. He is clearly pro-America. We saw that. He put it into action for 4 years. Drill, baby, drill. America was no longer importing oil. We were actually able to export it because of his policies, which helps not only make America energy independent, but it puts Americans to work. You need the people that work at the refinery, trucks, boats, the people that make the parts that wear out, replacement parts for this equipment. He brought oil prices down, gas prices down, natural gas, propane, you name it, the price dropped. People were doing well. The economy was doing very well. Before COVID, of course. I mean, COVID fucked up everything, right? So, but at least you know where he stands on guns. He's pretty good. Pretty good. He's pretty good. Sorry, I'll stop that. He is pro drilling for oil. He is pro energy independent. He is pro fracking. Again, whether you like this or not, you at least know where he stands. He has some other policies as well. I can't think of them off the top of my head. My brain is melted right now. But you know where he stands on this stuff. He is pro-military. He is pro-law enforcement. He is anti-open border. He has stated he wants to do mass deportations. Again, whether you are for that or against it or think there's no way that can happen, at least you know where he stands. He has answered questions. Where's Harris? She has said nothing. Oh, I'm sorry. She has said that she's a woman, and she's a woman of color. And I don't care. I'm struggling like you, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, liberal, trans, straight, black, purple. Like you, I'm struggling to put food on my table. I'm struggling every week to put gas in my car, like so many millions of all of us. Where's her stance on helping you? Send more money to Ukraine? Send more money to Israel or Gaza? Why is it not coming here? What about us? We should be the first priority. If your neighbor's kid needs food and your kid needs food, who are you going to give food to first? Your kid, as you should. And then if you have anything left over, yes, you help out your neighbor. Not when you're a socialist. It's all about me, and what I can get out of it. And Walz is a socialist. He's a fucking commie or Marxist. Like I've said, I know there's variations between the three, but they're the trifecta from hell. They all want misery, chaos, and death, apparently. That's, I'm assuming, again, they have no fucking platform. Oh, there is one thing Harris does have, and that's abortion. Because they keep saying, Trump's going to ban abortions. Oh, my God, no. Oh, my God, are you dumb? Are you dumb? Really, I'm asking a serious question. Are you dumb? Okay, so I'm going to go over this again briefly. Roe v. Wade was made law across the federal land. It was brought in front of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court realized, wait a minute, the feds can't do that. It's illegal for the feds to do that. It should never have gone through. And they overturned it. And people lost their fucking minds because the feds did not have the right to do that. You can agree or disagree. This is their decision. This is why it happened. It went back to the states, and there are some states where abortion is really, really strict, or it's a free-for-all. Doesn't matter what you're for or against. So the Supreme Court says that the feds cannot make abortion legal in all the states. What makes you think the Supreme Court would allow Trump to ban it in all 50 states? Hello? It's not going to happen. The Supreme Court would say, no, sorry, dude, piss off. No, you can't do that. Also, I've never heard him say that he was going to do that. In fact, today, 8/8, happy birthday, Dad, he said in an interview that he was asked about abortion, and he said exactly what I just said. Some states it's strict, some states it's lenient. Okay, it is what it is. He's not pushing to ban it. Also, for me, I have my own opinions on abortion. I'm not going to get into that today. It's not important. But I do ask those people that are freaking out over the topic of abortion, are you having a good time grocery shopping? I would love to see everybody's grocery bill. I don't care what you buy. I don't care if you buy breaded frozen chicken or fresh chicken. I don't care. Everybody's taking a hit in the wallet. Whether abortion is fully legal or fully banned, does that affect your wallet? Does it affect you putting food on the table? Now, again, I understand some people have it's a very sensitive topic. I get it. I'm not making fun of anyone. Like I said, I have my own views on this, so I'm not pointing fingers or making fun about abortion or picking on anybody. I'm not. But it's nowhere near the top 10 list of things people are freaking out about when it comes to politics in this country. They're freaking out about war, World War III, the economy, stupid, immigration, crime. Abortion's not even on the top 10. Okay? So that is all Kamala Harris can beat a drum over is abortion. They're going to take away your health care. Abortion's death care. But it's not health care. Abortion is abortion. If a woman wants to go and get a pap smear, they're not banning pap smears. Hello? No. If a woman has a cyst on her ovary, that's not being banned. She still is going to get the health care she needs. Hello? She gets cervical cancer. It's not being banned. And nobody's banning abortions. It comes down to your individual state. If you do not like the laws that are currently in place regarding abortion in your state, vote accordingly. And it's not the president vote. It is your local elections. Get involved, get informed, go to the polls. Sorry, not sorry. That's how it is. So, okay, at the end of the day, you have Harris that is 100% purely pro-abortion, and you have Trump that's kind of moderate on it. We'll say in the middle. He's not pro-life, but he's not 100% pro-choice. So he's floating in the middle. Okay, so that's one topic we know a little bit about regarding both candidates. And then there's nothing else from Harris. She's mum on it. And then there's some people out there. Let's clarify this. She said, Trump is afraid of debating me. No, he is fucking not afraid of debating you. He bowed out of the debate because it wasn't with her. He agreed to a debate with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is no longer the candidate. So you have to reset. It's no different than if two sports teams agreed, hey, on Sunday the 7th, we're going to play against each other at this venue. And then one of them's like, hey, our bus crashed and we don't have enough players that are healthy to play. You're going to play this team. They're going to say, oh, well, we didn't train to play that team, and playing on that type of turf is an advantage. Well, no, we'll play them, but just not that day at that place. We have to reconvene, and which would make sense. I get it. But when it comes to politics, everybody is always angling for something, whether they're on the right or the left. They're angling for an advantage because they want to win. Duh. So that's what you do. Trump bowed out from a debate with Joe Biden that was never going to happen because Biden dropped out. He is not running anymore. Duh. Now I guess Harris and Trump are going to do a debate. I don't know when or where or what channel. But this whole thing, he's afraid. No, that's what happened. He bowed out of the debate with Joe Biden because it wasn't going to happen. So now you got to set up a new one. So I'm just bringing you a little bit of facts here. I'm not 100% on everything all the time because I'm just a fucking moron. But I'm hoping that clarifies a little bit. So I hope some of you hear this and go, the fuck, he supports what? She supports, or wow, you're right. Other than hating Trump and J.D. Vance, they really haven't got anything of substance. I'm just putting it out there, folks. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I just hope you get more informed. And I know more people that have talked to me, and they've either flipped to I'm going to hold my nose and vote for Trump, which, okay, all right. And then I've had some that are like, I'm just not going to vote at all. And I implore them to go to the polls to at least vote in their local elections, because that shit affects, I've talked about this before, it affects you way more than just the feds. And I'm like, hey, if you don't want to pick a president or vote for one, fine, don't. But who's your town council? Who's your mayor? Whatever is up in your town. Get involved. You don't have to go, hold signs, but, learn. Do some research. What does this person stand for? And if one side or the other, or if there's 7 people running, which one do you agree with the most? Give them your vote. Go and at least vote. But I've had, like I said, with more people saying that they're either going to hold their nose and vote for Trump, or they're like, I've learned enough about that side. They're insane. Trump's got my vote. Or they're like, I'm abstaining. I'm not picking either one. I think they're both terrible. Okay, fair enough. And I'm like, I've heard people say, well, Trump's corrupt. Okay, well, then I have a question. Name me a politician that isn't. Again, crickets. Because every politician, in some way or another, is corrupt. I'm not saying that they are taking kickbacks or anything like. I'm not making that assumption. Some do. Absolutely. There was a guy, what was it, Menendez? I can't remember his name, that just got found guilty for that, taking money and bribes from, Egypt? Yeah. So some of them do that. I mean, it's the old trope. How can you tell when a politician's lying? Their lips are moving. Thank you for saying it with me. But it's true. They may be corrupt to the point where it's, hey, you want that to go through? Hey, I have this bill going through. Do you mind signing off on it? I'll sign off on yours. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's corruption too, because you should be able to stand on your own laurels and say, well, if I like it, I'll sign it. If I don't, I'm not voting for it. Sorry, legislator, or whatever. So every politician is corrupt in some way or another. So Trump is no different. Harris is no different. Kennedy was no different. We know about the skeletons in his closet too. No politician is innocent of corruption. Just look around you. Look at your grocery bill. Look at your gas bill. Fuck, look at your electric bill, especially Californians. Wow, I've seen some people post their electric bill, and holy shit, that is insane. It's insane, the prices for electricity, especially in California. How is that affecting you? How is that affecting your kids? Putting food on the table, all the normal stuff of everyday life. Getting an oil change. I remember when I would get an oil change and it was like $20, $25. Now it's like $45, $50, $55. I'm like, just for a fucking oil change? What? The shit's out of control. The inflation's out of control. And just recently, the jobs report was abysmal. Do you remember why the economy crashed this past week? That had a part of it. And from what anybody can gather, because Harris hasn't put it forth any policies, world markets have to assume that if she wins, it's the status quo. It's the same thing that we're doing now. So inflation is going to keep going up. Spending is going to keep going off the rails. Shit's going to get wild, and not in a good fucking way. All right. I think I have rambled on enough. Oh, look at that. It's 48 fucking minutes. Okay, well, we'll end this now. Thank you for tuning in all seriousness. Thank you. Thank you for listening. You can, again, find me on Facebook at Unapologetically Eric, or on X at Eric Not Sorry. I look forward to hearing from you, and if not, you have a great day anyway. Till next time, please take care.